it just dawned on me, what if I were to do it shirtless with chains on? And at first I thought, boy, that's a bit much.
Hey, I thought it was all over.
Here we go. We are jumping into the pick six with the Minnesota Vikings, discussing the future, what they're kind of imagining with the establishing of the run game, and of course that QB spot with Kirk Cousins being a big question mark. With that, though, let's jump right into it. My name is Nick. This is Roll Coverage.
Welcome inside TCO Studios for the season recap edition of Pick Six, the show where we ask your fan questions to experts, players, and coaches. And this week, we feature beat writers as well as players like Justin Jefferson and Josh Metellus. However, we start this show with question number one for Kirk Cousins. This is from Ted in Matamidi, and he says, Kirko Chains, my man. Your Gallagher performance was the best I've ever seen. What made you commit to the idea? And Cooper, he looks so happy to be into it too. What was the whole experience like? Here's Kirk Cousins' answer.
You know, Ted, I was lying in bed the night before the game, and I found myself, my mind was drifting to doing the Gallagher, and it just dawned on me, what if I were to do it shirtless with chains on? And at first I thought, boy, that's a bit much. But as I thought more about it, I ran it by my wife, it seemed like it might make sense. I knew it would make it memorable, and that's part of the goal. The concern was that it would be too much about me or the Gallagher and not about the team, and so I wanted to make sure if we do it, it's still about the team on the field and what they've got to do. And adding my son was just a part of the idea. He was up for it, and I'm so glad looking back that we went for it. We went big, we went all in, and I'm grateful you appreciated it. So would much rather have been down on the field playing, but it was a cool opportunity, and the idea for it did not come from me. That came from Kwesi and Kevin and ownership and Jeff Anderson. It was really, they came to me to say, you know, what would you think about doing the Gallagher? My first response was, shouldn't I just lay low? And they said, no, we think it would help get everybody going. So then my thought was, well, if it would help get everybody going, then let's really get everybody going, and let's not just go up there and check the box. Let's go for it. So that's what we did.
This is my first time reacting to the pick six, so shout out to the Minnesota Vikings, man. What your team is doing, I love this. This is beautiful. I hope more organizations start to do this, man. Get in behind the scenes, a little bit of what the players are doing, and I think I'd love to see more diverse players, because obviously teams are going to put quarterback, main wide receiver, running back, that kind of thing. But I would also love to hear from, like the wide receiver 4, wide receiver 5, some of your special teams guys, and seeing how they're kind of reacting to these games too. So, man, if this is what pick six is, man, as a Panthers fan, you can count on me watching this stuff from the Vikings.
And wow, Kirk, did it work? Never heard US Bank Stadium quite so loud before. Kirk's contract is set to expire this offseason. However, just this week, General Manager Kwesi Adofo-Mensah said his intent is to keep Kirk in Minnesota. Let's move on to question number 2. It's a Twitter question from G. They want to know, what has been the strategy for keeping capable backups at key positions on the roster? And will this strategy change for next season? The Athletic's Alec Lewis takes this one.
This is a great question because it gets to depth, which is a gigantic priority for the Vikings this offseason. If you look around the NFL this year, I mean, most teams have needed depth, specifically at quarterback, but also at a bunch of positions. If you talk about edge rusher, you think about the Miami Dolphins and what they've gone through from an attrition standpoint. And so you ask what the strategy has been. I mean,
Yeah, shout out to the Dolphins, man. Losing Bradley Chubb and Christian, like, you guys are just got hobbled at the end. I feel so bad for you. And then, of course, playing that chiller of a game in Kansas City.
It's shrewd signings. It's guys who have familiarity with the buildings, the DJ Wanhams, the Jonathan Bullers at defensive tackle. Kyrus Tonga at defensive tackle was a free agent picked up. So I think the strategy doesn't change much. It's more just the priority that backups are, and depth is essential. And I think the more this year has gone on, the more the decision makers in this building realize that. And so I expect it to be a major priority moving forward.
Thanks, Alec, and you can find all of his work at theathletic.com. He makes a great point. And
Shout out, by the way, to the Vikings. Look at this set, man. You guys really went all out. I absolutely love it. 10 out of 10, one of the best ones I've seen arguably the best that I've seen out of the NFL team so far, but I haven't done all of the teams, so we're getting close. But this is definitely 1A if it's not number one.
It's something the front office is already hard at work at. The next question was actually an email submission from Jim for Justin Jefferson. He asks, both your play and your expressions about this team this season have shown an increased level of team-first mentality. Do you feel like your outlook has expanded through these first years in the league? What experiences have encouraged that growth?
Quick, first of all, great question, Mr. Marshall. Wow, yeah. You guys got two amazing ones. I was one of those ones, just in case you guys don't know, I did 50 fantasy leagues this year, and the number one player I drafted in all of them was your rookie wide receiver, Jordan Addison. I think he is going to be dynamic, and if you are able to keep Jettas and Addison there together, oh my gosh, it is going to be a great time to be a Vikings fan for a very long time. So yeah.
JJ, what's your answer?
That is a great question. It definitely has grown just with the role that I have gotten over the years. Just trying to be more of a leader of the team. Of course, being presented with the captain, the C on my chest. It comes with a lot of responsibility and leadership that you have to take on. So I feel like everyone has that expectation for me to be that leader on this team. So, I try to lead as much as possible.
Adolfo Mensa also addressed JJ's contract extension and says he's optimistic they'll reach a deal and that he's already talked to JJ's representation this week. We've got another question for you. It's question 4.
Touch on that last one. Yeah, that contract is going to be an interesting one. People are saying it might be the first wide receiver contract that rivals a quarterback contract. I mean, don't get me wrong. I absolutely think that you could pay Jay Jettas kind of whatever you want. But if he really wants to stay in Minnesota and wants to continue the legacy that he's built there so far, I mean, he could absolutely surpass Moss as the greatest Viking of all time. So think about that.
It's about the improvements next season. Alex Houlihan wants to know, what do you think the offensive plan should be to help control the line of scrimmage? The run game struggled, and there were moments where single move routes were the only call because of the pressure. Alex, we got ESPN.
Hey, shout out. Y'all picking some great questions. I don't know if people are just smarter in Minnesota, but man, Jags questions that I've done, Panthers, all that. Kind of mid. These are actually some solid ones, so shout out to y'all.
Vikings beat writer Kevin Seifert to weigh in on this one.
Well, I think in pass protection, let me say this. I don't think that controlling the line is the biggest problem the Vikings have in the things you're talking about. I think one thing that they have a lot in pass protection was some assignment issues. I don't think that was like a physical mismatch as much as just knowing who's supposed to pick up the blitzer, whether it's a tight end, whether it's somebody in the backfield, that sort of thing. But with the running game, I do say that I do think that they will really go under the hood and decide and really analyze, are they doing the right thing on the running game? Are they running the right kind of schemes, the right types of runs? And are they using the right types of running backs and the right individual running backs in the right plays? And I think all of that stuff will be under fair consideration. And I expect there to be some significant changes in all those areas next year when they get back on the field.
Thanks, Ken.
Things you also have to add on to that is when you don't have Kirk out there, you have a quarterback that is not used to taking first-team reps. Kirk is a seasoned veteran. So many teams are going to be going after him in the offseason if he does not go to Minnesota. So with that, I would say playing Mullins and everything like that was more of a downfall than anything else. I think if Kirk is out there under center taking snaps, you are in the playoffs. You are most likely really fighting in this division, and you probably force this division to have 3 people in the playoffs. If not, you're the one that knocks out the Packers, so that would have been great for y'all. But
Kevin, you can find his work on ESPN.com. And the run game will be a point of improvement for this Vikings team that finished with the 6th fewest rushing attempts.
I personally attribute that immensely, as an outsider, as a Panthers fan and everything like that, to y'all not having Dalvin Cook anymore. I thought the idea of you guys doubling down on Madison and everything like that was not going to pay dividends long term. But again, like what I just said before, with Kirk Cousins not taking the snaps, you're playing a different Vikings team. So I have to give you guys a massive amount of slack and expect that if you do bring Kirk Cousins back, that you are back in the playoffs and contending for your division, of course.
And 5th fewest rushing yards in the league. It's another offensive personnel question at number 5. From Kay, they ask, what does the future at running back look like, especially finding one that can pick up third downs? The Pioneer Press's Dade Mizutani takes this one.
What do I think they're going to do at the number, the running back position moving forward? I think it's going to be Ty Chandler's job just to kind of run with. I think he's shown that enough this year that he can make an impact in the running game. I think Alexander Madison probably exists somewhere in that room, but I wouldn't be surprised if they brought in a veteran this offseason, if they kind of comb and canvas that market. Would be surprised if they used it if they drafted a running back, because there's just so many other needs and they need to get younger at so many other positions. But I think right now, if you just look at it, Ty Chandler probably makes sense as RB1 heading into next year. Where does he take that? That's up to him. But I think he'll be the guy moving forward, and then everything will kind of fall in place after that.
You can find Dane's work at the Pioneer Press's website.
It's obviously way too early, but Ty Chandler, man, there's going to be better alternatives, the Leonard Fournettes, even though he's older and stuff like that. So I would look at doing something. I just don't know if Ty Chandler's going to be that guy. I mean, he could absolutely come out next year and put up 1,000 yards and make me, eat crow. But I just didn't believe in Madison this year. I believed in Cook when y'all had him. I don't know if I believe in Tyson Chandler. Obviously, to this point, I don't. So he's going to have to prove a little bit. But if you do have a number 1 running back already, that's amazing for y'all. Don't go out and draft another one. Secure that Jay Jettis deal ASAP.
Ty Chandler only had 4 starts this season. However, he amassed 461 yards and 3 touchdowns in those games. We're going to end this one with a fun one. Rick in Fargo wants to ask Josh Metellus, besides being a Viking, what's your favorite part about living in Minnesota? All right, Josh, let's hear your answer.
Besides being a Viking, my favorite part about living in Minnesota, I would say, is just the people. My wife and my family, I think, enjoy the love and just family nature that the whole state brings, and you don't get that everywhere, and I think you appreciate little things like that. We feel safe here, we feel connected with the community, and I think that's just something I really appreciate about Minnesota, and I love it.
Well, we love you too, Josh, and excited for you to return for another season. Well, that'll be it for this edition of Pick Six. There will be some more off-season episodes as we move along into 2024. Submit your questions online to my Twitter handle at Tatum Everett, or look for my call for Pick Six questions. If you can find my email, you can even do that. I take those and put them on the show as well. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you very soon.
Shout out to everybody over at the Vikings. Great video, nice, easy, to the point. I absolutely loved it. This is what more teams need to be doing. The community, getting fans involved, answering these really easy questions. But though the Vikings did bring the heat with some good ones, this is what I love. This is the NFL. It's not just a game. It's how it affects everybody else outside of that game. And with that, my name is Nick. This has been Row Coverage. If you need more breakdowns on the regular, make sure you follow us at the socials below. Otherwise, I'll see you when I see you. Peace.